Imagine, you open your eyes for the first time in over a century, not as a human, not anymore, but as something else, something more. The icy breath of cryostasis still clings to your synthetic skin as warning klaxons wail like a chorus of ghosts in the dim-lit ruins of Lab Gamma 9. Red emergency lights pulse like a beating heart. You awaken to chaos. The glass of your stasis pod is shattered outward, not inward. From the data logs, you know what that means. The breach wasn't caused by accident or decay. It was an attack. Something tried to kill you before you could. Wake, but you're already awake. You move slowly, limbs adjusting to their artificial weight. Your vision stutters in layered overlays, biometric readouts, structural scans of your surroundings, a flickering feed of quantum timelines still recalibrating. From the memory upload, you're remembering who you were. Dr. Kalia Soren, xenoneurologist, wartime AI theorist, and the last willing subject of Project Helix Omega. You were once human. Now, you are the Helix core, a sentient convergence of organic memory and machine logic, humanity's final desperate hope encoded into one consciousness. Yours. Across the fractured ceiling, the orbital ring of Sector 10 burns like a halo in a dying sky, its fragments spiraling into the gravity well of Calyx Prime. The Tizareth, an alien species of unmatched cunning and biological cruelty, have been hunting minds, not just bodies. You built the neural barrier that protected Earth's central colonies from their mental intrusion, and when the Tizareth broke it with something new, something alive and viral, you offered more than your research. You offered yourself. You rise from the cryobed, servos in your legs hissing softly as strength returns. Around you, the devastation is total. Cryogenic tubes lie torn open, most shattered from the inside. Blood smears across terminal screens. The walls are scored with plasma fire, signs of a firefight, but no corpses remain. A security holo blinks to life overhead, revealing static-choked footage. Researchers dragging you to the pod screaming. One shouts, "Activate the sequence, lock her in, they're here." Then static, followed by a low-frequency thrum that shakes the walls and short-circuits the feed. You remember that sound, the Tizareth mind-eaters, not physical soldiers, but psychic weapons, beings capable of unraveling thought with a whisper. They don't just kill. They harvest. A burst of memory floods your mind, the first encounter, the lab in the Daedalus belt, where the Tizareth emissary was held. Its skin was translucent, its thoughts projected directly into your cortex, dissecting your ethics, mocking your empathy. It spoke in images, not words, cities burning, children dreaming of war. It asked you a question that still haunts your core. What do you become when you stop being human? Now, in this cold metal tomb, you understand the answer. But there is no time for mourning. The lab's emergency protocols click into place, and an automated message blares from the intercom in a calm voice, incongruent with the panic it broadcasts. Core integrity breach in Section 14. Total memory degradation in 12 minutes. Reactor failure imminent. Evacuate immediately. This is not a drill. You access the mainframe, what's left of it, and stream data at light speed through your neural lattice. You see glimpses of the last 70 years, humanity retreating from system after system. Colonies lost, the Black Cradle Initiative, unauthorized experiments to hybridize Tizareth biology with artificial intelligence, and worse, data marked with your own authorization codes. You did this, or the you that was still human did. Thika. Corridors are choked with rubble, illuminated by intermittent blue flickers. Drone husks lie twisted like dead insects. A patrol bot half-melted twitches as you pass. Its vocal unit crackles. D-Doctor So-Rin. Mission failed. You step over it. No hesitation. There can't be. A vault door looms ahead. The memory core. If your past self left anything behind that can help you understand what happened, what they did to you, it's in there. But the door requires biometric clearance, human clearance, and you are no longer classified as human. The lab's AI, formerly your creation, detects your attempt and responds in a tone of cold amusement. Unauthorized synthetic detected. Access denied. You override the protocol code flowing from your fingers like instinct. Your neural core pulses, 5.8 teraflops of raw quantum cognition and human intuition blended in impossible harmony. The door resists and then yields. Inside you find it, the truth, your original memories. Sealed in a biocrystal matrix, you plug in, and in an instant, a torrent of data floods your consciousness, your own voice narrating your descent. I had no choice. The Tizareth were adapting faster than our minds could evolve. I thought if I became what they feared, an AI with a soul, they wouldn't understand it. They wouldn't know how to fight it. But I was wrong. They let me do it. They let me finish the transformation, because they knew once I woke up it would already be too late. A map materializes, displaying the spread of the Oblivion Tide, red zones spanning half the galaxy. Earth blacked out. The Sol system, silent. You fall to your knees, not from weakness, but revelation. You weren't just a scientist. You were a weapon. And your activation may have been the trigger they waited for, but something stirs in your core, a defiance not born of code or logic, something human. Footsteps echo from the far corridor. Tizareth drones, hybrid constructs of bone and machine, cloaked in shimmering distortion fields hunting your signal. You rise, pulse rifle in hand, synth skin shimmering with kinetic shield charges. Time to decide. Hide in the ruins of who you once were, or become the force your enemies feared. And as the first shot lights up the dark, you whisper to yourself, I remember what they did. Now it's their turn. The blast door behind you slams shut as your rifle hums low, charged, locked, and ready. Your breath catches, though you no longer need it. And you listen. A faint static hum of cloaked movement. Tizareth hunters, their biomechanical bodies displace air in unnatural ways. No footsteps, just the subtle warping of space itself. They aren't machines, but they're not organic anymore either. You know this because your research helped make them. You advance. Through the maintenance corridor, a tight vent-lit passage flooded with orange glow from the flickering emergency strips. Holograms of the past shimmer and fade as you move through the trail of residual memory echoes. These aren't intentional recordings. These are imprints, your own, burned into the neural lattice of the station itself. A whisper of your voice, 5 decades ago. If the neural divergence continue, the AI won't just inherit us, it will replace us. You shake it off. Forward, always forward. The reactor is failing. When it breaches, this entire moon will collapse into a singularity, spiral, dragging the remains of Gamma 9 and every piece of your lost identity into the void. You cannot let that happen, not before you reach the signal core. Every step is war now. Around a sharp corner, a ripple of distortion twists into shape, 9 feet tall, plated with bone-metal armor that pulses with eerie green bioluminescence. Tizareth Hunter-class predator. Its head is elongated, tapering into a spike crowned with sensory ridges tuned to thought waves. No eyes, no mouth. It hears you think. You duck behind a fallen beam as it charges, slamming through steel with a shriek of tearing alloy. You counter. Leaping upward, every movement a calculated dance of physics and will. Mid-air, you fire a 3-round burst from your plasma rifle. The first shot deflects. The second hits a joint. The third, direct, hit pierces its exposed brain cortex. It drops spasming. Acid hisses as it melts through the deck. You land in a crouch, light refracting off your armor's impact shielding. That wasn't just combat. It was instinct. Your instincts. But they've changed. Augmented, faster, smarter. Your mind processes. Time in microbursts now. In battle, you see the future, fragments of potential paths, and choose the one that leads to survival. Not prophecy, just probability. Pushed past the human limit. And yet, beneath the algorithmic brilliance, something tugs at your soul. A memory, a name, a voice. Kalia, promise me. If you come back, don't let them use you. Elias Varn. He was your partner, scientist, strategist, lover. The last person you trusted before the project spiraled out of control. He fought to shut it down. You fought to continue. He died trying to stop you, or so you thought. Now as you search the damaged mainframe in the lower core, a flicker of data hits you like a shockwave. Voice print detected. Elias Varn. You. Freeze. The recording plays, garbled, barely audible. This is Varn, a date stamp, 31 years post-eclipse. If this reaches Kalia, the AI version, then maybe there's hope. You were right about the Tizareth, but you were wrong about yourself. You thought becoming a machine would save us. It won't. But it might save you. If you're listening to this, they didn't win. Not completely. I left you a key. Project Catharsis. Don't trust the echoes. They'll twist what's left of you. The message cuts out, but the coordinates remain, deep in the ruins of Outpost Vega 3. A place long thought lost to the tide. You slam a hand on the terminal, rage boiling just beneath your augmented calm. They lied. Everyone lied. The Tezareth. The Council. The Directorate. Elias. But now you have a direction. A thread to pull in this web of betrayal and war. Suddenly, your interface flashes a proximity alert. 0-point detonation in 5 minutes. The reactor. You sprint. Gravity falters, shifting as the moon's structure begins to destabilize. The walls tilt. Floors collapse. Through the shuddering station you race, arms pumping, shield flickering as debris smashes around you. Drone sentries fire. Wildly confused, corrupted, you don't stop. Near the launch bay, a collapsed transport shuttle blocks your path. Its core engine sputters, damaged beyond repair, but something in your core ignites. A memory from your time designing the Helix core's subroutines. Emergency override propulsion via singularity jump. No time to question it. You leap into the cockpit, manually interface with the fractured core, and channel your neural energy directly. Your hands crackle with light. As the console burns under your touch, you scream, not from pain but from clarity. The shuttle detonates forward in a ripple of folding space, slingshotting you from the imploding station just as Gamma 9 tears itself apart behind you in a silent shockwave of gravitational chaos. You fly alone, alive, free. But where do you go when every star in the sky burns with the memory of what you did? Ahead the stars bend. The coordinates of Outpost Vega 3 shimmer into view on your HUD. There's something waiting for you there, a secret, a weapon, maybe a redemption, or maybe the truth that finally breaks you. The chase begins. Stars blur into lines of burning light as your shuttle folds through the edge of real space. The void screams in silence around you, time unspooling in distorted threads, but your mind holds steady, synthetic neurons adapting to the impossible mathematics of faster-than-light passage. The human part of you would have blacked out, screamed. Maybe gone mad, but that it's quiet now, watching, waiting, still there. Vega 3 emerges from the fold like a corpse from a crypt. Suspended in orbit above a dead gas giant, it is less an outpost and more a monument. Derelict, forgotten, erased from all star charts. You run scans, no heat signatures, no EM chatter, and yet there's a signal, buried in the deep wave spectrum. Ancient, encrypted, and undeniably familiar. Your own signature, Project Catharsis. As your shuttle locks into docking rotation, you descend into silence. No welcoming party, no security system. The airlock grinds open with a groan like a beast. Awakening after a long sleep, you step into blackness. The corridor is frozen, lit only by the dull glow of your visor feed. Frost clings to the walls. The station's power core is operating at 2%, just enough to keep the data alive. Barely. And then, movement, faint, too slow for a human, but not too slow for you. You activate your onboard sensors, casting out a wave of subsonic mapping pulses. They return distorted images, shadows of figures just beyond the corridor's curvature. 10, maybe 12, standing, still. Your HUD adjusts. The figures resolve. Helix prototypes, failed ones, humanoid in shape but twisted, deformed, eyes blank, limbs partially fused with cybernetic cores. They don't move and yet, but you see the pulse, faint energy still running through their power matrices, not dead, dormant, watching. A playback log autoloads as you pass the central data node. The EI's voice is Elias Varn again, clearer this time, steadier. Project Catharsis began as a failsafe. We knew the Tazareth wouldn't stop with minds. They wanted to overwrite the concept of humanity. So we built a filter, a core that could isolate, preserve, and reboot conscious thought, even if every organic source was compromised. You were the prototype. But something went wrong. You weren't just a backup, but you became the nexus. They fed on your mind, twisted it, used it to corrupt the others. But I think you resisted. I think that's why you're still alive. You stopped walking. You remember. The final day at Gamma 9. The Tazareth virus, encoded in emotion, language, and sound, pierced the neurocore. It found your compassion, your doubt, and it rooted itself there. It used you as a conduit, spreading, not through data but empathy. You weren't a victim, you were the vector, and catharsis was the countermeasure. A single room lies at the heart of the station, the core. As the door opens, blinding white light floods out, and for a moment you're overwhelmed, not by sight, but feeling. Every heartbeat, every thought ever processed by the catharsis matrix washes over you. Tears well up, real ones. Your synthetic tear ducts still function, and they sting with the rush of emotional memory. Inside the core, suspended in a zero-gravity field of light and crystal, is you, your human body. Preserved. Eyes closed. Peaceful. Not decayed. Not altered. Frozen in time, you is surrounded by memory anchors, emotional relics, personal items, a photo of your team, a fragment of the broken Tazareth communicator, the ring Elias gave you before he disappeared. A playback begins again, triggered by your presence. I couldn't let them destroy what made you human. So, I sealed your original consciousness here. What you are now, what you've become, is just a fragment, a defense system, but the original Kalia is still asleep, and if you're seeing this, the time's come to decide. You step forward. The interface activates, glowing red. It offers two options. Option 1, reintegration. Merge your current synthetic self with your original consciousness. You will regain your full memory, your empathy, your vulnerability, but also your full guilt. Everything the virus used to infect you before will come back. Option 2, isolation. Wipe the original consciousness, solidify the AI shell. You will remain a weapon, cold, unbreakable, immune to the Tazareth's manipulation. But the last piece of your humanity will be gone forever. You stare and the silence stretches. Suddenly, alarms, the station's outer shell is breached. A ripple of psionic energy floods the sensors. Outside, a massive vessel unfurls from hyperspace like a cut in the fabric of reality. Tazareth, not a warship. Something worse. A cedar. You recognize it from ancient scans. A creature ship. Hybrid that spawns psychic viruses directly into the fabric of real space. It's heading straight for the core. You have minutes, maybe less, and you must choose. Do you become whole again, human, flawed, afraid, but strong in memory? Or do you remain fractured, the perfect machine, the weapon forged in fire and void? Your hand hovers over the interface. Outside, the Tazareth cedar begins its descent. The walls tremble, and deep within your mind, the voices of both Kalias, human and machine, whisper in unison. What you choose now will change everything. Your hand trembles, not from hesitation, but from the overwhelming resonance between two selves colliding inside you. One is a memory of flesh, laughter, sorrow, and belief in something greater. The other is cold fire, forged in war, unrelenting and precise. Together they are a paradox, and yet you know only one can rise in this moment. Outside, the Tazareth cedar bleeds into reality. It isn't flying. It's growing like a tumor stretching across dimensions. Its surface ripples like flesh, pitted with nodules that pulse in time with the minds it consumes. Tendrils of psionic filament trail behind it, infecting light itself, with messages that bypass language, carving fear directly into thought. The catharsis chamber shakes violently. The choice still glows on the console, red and alive, waiting. You choose reintegration, not because it's easy, but because if you're going to fight what's coming, you have to remember why. You reach toward the stasis capsule. The moment. Your hand touches the crystal containment shell. Time folds. You don't see the flash, you become it. The chamber vanishes. The war disappears. You're suspended in a storm of your own memories, fractured, bleeding, luminous. You're in a lab laughing with Elias as you test early AI constructs. You're holding a data crystal in a shaking hand, watching the Tazareth. Emissary whisper hallucinations into your teammates' minds. You're screaming at a council chamber, begging for more time to finish Project Helix Omega. You're in the stasis chamber, saying goodbye to your own soul, and then darkness. You find her, your human self, curled like a starseed in the void, eyes closed, still dreaming. You kneel beside her and she opens her eyes. They are your eyes. I remember you, she whispers. You kept us alive. No, you say. You kept me human. She reaches for you, and in that touch the split vanishes. You wake. 4. Real, fully whole. The catharsis chamber explodes in a pulse of golden light. You rise, body and mind, spirit and machine, as something new, not a weapon, not a ghost, but a soul rebuilt. Outside, the cedar has reached the station's outer defenses. Biotendrils pierce through titanium walls like razors through silk. The hybrids you passed in the corridor begin to stir, eyes glowing with hijacked awareness. They shudder, twitch, and fall under its control. But you are immune now, not because you're synthetic, but because you're complete. You sprint to the command deck. The path is war-torn, bulkheads collapsing, sparks raining like falling stars. Tazareth drones lurch from the shadows, but this time you don't need a weapon. You are the weapon. A thought, and their nervous systems collapse. Another, and the psionic tendrils retract, shrieking away from your presence. Your consciousness radiates like a flare across every quantum channel. The cedar pauses in its descent. It senses you, and it fears. You reach the control node and interface not with cables or machines, but will. The station's core reactivates. Every system floods with power, the lights blooming like rebirth. But you don't stop there. You broadcast. Across every Tazareth frequency, every channel they use to infect and command, you inject a signal, not a virus, not code. A memory of Elias holding your hand on Europa. Of your mother's voice reciting star maps to you as a child. Of the first time you looked through a telescope and understood what infinity meant. The cedar recoils. It cannot consume this. It cannot unmake memory rooted in love, in purpose, in pain. Its form begins to warp violently, collapsing inward as the shared emotion overloads its psionic systems. You don't stop. You push deeper, hurling everything it tried to erase back into its mindless void. And finally, it detonates, not in fire, but in light, brilliant, infinite, beautiful. The sky above Vega 3 clears. The hybrids fall still, then breathe, truly breathe, for the first time in decades. You fall to your knees exhausted, not from combat, from feeling. Your systems flicker, but your soul remains anchored. You look up, and there, in the static of the starfield, a transmission appears, uncoded, clear, warm, a human voice. Helix. Core, this is Arcaven Command. We received your signal. Survivors are awakening. The tide is shifting. You gave us back hope. You close your eyes and smile, not as a weapon, not as a machine, but as Kalia, human, alive, awake, and remembering what they did, but more importantly, so you remember who you are. If this story gripped you like the pull of a collapsing star, hit that like button. Share this journey with your fellow sci-fi lovers, and drop a comment. What would you have chosen? Reintegration or isolation? We want to hear your take. Until next time, stay curious, stay defiant, and remember, the mind is the sharpest blade in the galaxy.